When someone first comes to work with me, either through a divorce or a breakup, I think they typically have a really specific idea of what we're going to talk about. They expect like strategy sessions. They want to talk about their ex, and they expect this process to really focus around the loss of the marriage. And in some ways, that's true. And we definitely do all of those things in sessions. But I think that most people are surprised that within the first few sessions, almost every single client says some version of the same sentence to me. They say, I didn't expect us to be talking about that. And clients a year later, or at the end of their divorce or their breakup, or when they're feeling really good and they got their life back, often say things like, I didn't realize X, but then we worked on it. I worked on it with Leslie, and that's how I got through Y. Like, it's pretty common. And in my groups, I have a program called Through where I help women get through the process using a program that I developed that I believe helps them in the areas that are the most difficult. And some of those areas are the least expected, which is why most people don't have the preparation that they need to get through. I do that in small groups or individually. So in the groups, I hear women saying to each other, oh, yeah, when we worked on that, I understand that better. Or I use this strategy. Oh, yes, I use it. Those are the women who've worked with me individually in coaching and now they're doing through. Welcome back to Pulling Threads. I'm Leslie, and today I want to take everyone kind of behind the curtain a little bit. And I want to talk about things that surprise people the most about the work I do with clients who are either going through a divorce or a difficult breakup. Because what I have found is that the things that actually move someone through this process intact and get them into a healthier space than when they arrived in my sessions, the things that really determine whether they limp out depleted or they walk out grounded and feeling more empowered and ready for this new life that's coming. Those things that really move the needle are almost never the things that they came in expecting us to focus on. So this episode is literally for everyone because I think that many people have gone through one of these two situations, but I know that everyone who's listening has supported somebody through them. And so this is for men, it's for women, it's for friends, family, or maybe it's for you. So I want to walk through some of these things that I think people are the most surprised about and the things that I consider the most critical. Because if you're someone who is going through a divorce or even thinking about it, there are things that you do not yet realize that you need, and nobody is telling you or talking about them. And my job as both a therapist and a coach and a former attorney and a former or a trained health coach, like my job is really to take care of the whole person. And that is different than most divorce coaches, and it's different than most therapists. My programs are really holistic, and these are the conversations that, in my experience, have changed the trajectory of someone's recovery and experience in a way that without some of these things, the outcome and the outlook and the life after divorce could look very different. Here's the frame to start with for this conversation. Divorce is not primarily a legal event. It is not primarily an emotional event. It's a sustained physiological event that can cause long-term damage and health crises if you don't look at it that way. Your nervous system was not built to be in a state of chronic threat for months at a time, sometimes years. But that's what divorce often is. The cortisol levels stay elevated day in and day out. The body is always bracing. The mind is constantly ruminating. Sleep fragments, digestion shifts, memory dulls, decision-making narrows. Even in the best case scenarios, when you're the one leaving, this process creates a stress that is placed on your body for a long period of time that you've likely never experienced before. I understand there are a few people in this world who get through this process quickly. I actually have a dear friend who just did that. But even without the legal process, the process of untangling, I talk about untangling all the time. The process of untangling is hard. And even if you're getting along with the person, it's hard because it's more than just divorcing a human being, right? It's changing your living situation and where you live. And after the divorce, I know I'm going to get some pushback if any of the dudes that have been commenting on my videos chime in. Yeah, it can be great on the other side. I've lived that. But the process itself needs consideration. We need to really think about what's happening in our bodies and how to protect ourselves. So when someone shows up to do this work with me, the first thing I'm assessing is not their legal situation or even the relational dynamic. The first thing that I am assessing is what is the state of this person's nervous system and what does their body need right now to make it through what's coming? What do they need to understand? And how do they need to prepare? How do they need to start babying themselves, to be honest? Because every conversation that we're going to have after that, and every legal decision that they make, and every parenting plan, and every difficult conversation with their ex runs through the body. And if the body is depleted, the decisions made from that body will be depleted too. So I don't get every client that calls to inquire about my program. And many times it's because the call that they're making, the request that they're making is for legal strategy. And we do talk about legal strategy. We get there. I do offer some support without legal advice because I am not a family law attorney. I am a former attorney and divorce coach who understands the process and can help you navigate decisions. But I am not an attorney who is helping you make those final decisions. I also have this really incredible health coaching training that I got while I was still married, but when I was preparing to go through my divorce. And I don't talk about that enough and how big of a role it played in me getting through the process in a healthier way. But it made a tremendous difference because that health coaching training, 1.5 years worth of training, helped me understand how things like sleep and nutrition and exercise and movement were going to play a role in how I showed up for this process. So let's start with sleep. Almost every client I see is sleep deprived when they arrive. They're waking up 2, 3, 4 times at night, typically 3 o'clock in the morning. Their minds are running different scenarios. They're doom scrolling on their phones. They're falling asleep with the TV on. Some of them are using wine to take the edge off, which actually ends up fragmenting sleep even further. And here's what I tell them. Without sleep, you cannot do any of the rest of this well. You can't regulate your emotions. You can't make clear decisions. You can't show up for your kids. You can't sit through a deposition without dissociating. You can't be in a room with your ex without losing yourself. You can't, if we're talking about a breakup, you can't push through those feelings of missing the person and not making the phone call or sending the text when you need to. Sleep is not optional during either of these events. It's the foundation of everything else. Okay. Everything is standing on your sleep and your rest. So I work with clients on actual sleep hygiene. And I have a friend who her whole program is built on sleep hygiene. So I may even refer them to her, Melissa Good. She also has a podcast about sleep, which is incredible. And I'm not talking about like the Pinterest version of sleep. I mean, like, we talk about real sleep hygiene, real sleep protocols. What time the phone goes away, what's in the bedroom, what isn't, what's eaten, at what time, what are you drinking, what the morning routine is going to look like, because sleep is built throughout the day, not just at night. And often what stories are running in the mind that need to be addressed during waking hours, they may show up at 3 a.m. So we want to make sure that they don't. I do red light almost every morning. It tells my body, oh, it's time to wake up. And it's really good for my skin and my overall health for many reasons. But the reason I do it in the morning is because I believe it helps me and my body like set the clock to start. And so even though I'm doing it in the morning, I do feel like when I do that consistently, I sleep better. So that's number one. Next, nutrition and movement. All right, we're going to talk about food and movement. And I think that surprises people. They didn't sign up to work with me with a law degree and an MSW, like to talk about protein and walks. But the nervous system is in a chronic activation, and there's blood sugar volatility, which makes everything worse. So skipping meals, living on coffee, wait, I've got my coffee, but eating once a day at 9 p.m., these are common patterns during divorce and breakup and other big life events that end up amplifying the anxiety. Eating consistently, getting enough protein, staying hydrated, these are not vanity, all right? Might I mention to my client that when they are done being divorced and they want to go out into the dating world, that they want to look and feel their best? Absolutely. Yes. Like, I had game on during my divorce, preparing, knowing that, wow, I love myself now. I'm going to take care of myself. And when these papers are signed, I'm going to re-enter the world, start dating for the first time in 20 years, and look out, world, right? Yes. But what I'm talking about with my clients is nervous system related, okay? Eating right, staying hydrated, it's a nervous system stabilizer. The same thing is true with movement. A daily walk, even 20 minutes, does more for stress hormones than most people really understand. Stress is energy that wants to move through the body. If it doesn't get to move, it stays and it calcifies as anxiety, as insomnia, as that constant low feeling or hum of dread. So I want to call people out here a little bit. I see different patterns in men and women. Men, in my experience, often resist the idea that something this basic matters. They were taught to push through, to handle it, be tough. So their bodies carry more than they're admitting or that they know, and the cost does show up later. It may be in their sleep, in their health, in their relationships, or even in their work. Women, especially mothers, often abandon their own basic care entirely while managing everyone else's. They forget to eat, they cut their walks, they skip appointments, especially in tough times. And the result is the same for both men and women. They become depleted, dysregulated, and unable to access their own clarity at the moments that they need it most. Both patterns end up in the same place. Both require the same intervention. Take care of the body that's carrying you through this. It's critical. So important. This is not the time to stop taking care of yourself. The people that I know who do crazy things like CrossFit or join, bar classes for women, men who take up a new sport, like these are really important and helpful things for people to do during these big, hard life events like breakup and divorce. I'm going to touch on supplements and what our body needs, but I want to just say that supplements played a huge role and continue to play a huge role for me personally. But since I'm not a physician, I want to just use care. Many clients do ask about the supplements that I take, and I'm going to say that this is the conversation that you should be having with your practitioner, and I definitely want everyone to do that. But that person is going to know your body, your diagnoses, whatever they are, what might work. And they might also recommend doing blood work. I had blood work done recently. I take vitamin D every day, but I had blood work done and it's still low, so I had to double it. That plays a huge role in my health and my recovery and my immune system. So getting your hormones tested, I did that not long after or during, I think during my divorce, which helped me realize I needed to start hormone replacement therapy, which has played a tremendous role in so many areas of my life. So what I will say in general is that the nervous system has nutritional needs, especially under stress. Things like magnesium, B vitamins, omega-3s. Many of my clients find these supportive, and so do I. They're not magic. They're part of this foundation that we're trying to lay early on in this process. And the point I want to make is that during divorce, your body is going to do a lot of extra work and it deserves extra support, not less. Another thing that I discovered at the end of my marriage and the beginning of my divorce was that I was burning through vitamin C like insanely, right? Some of that had to do with some toxic things that were in my environment, but realizing by the blood work that I had no vitamin C despite eating a lot of things helped me realize why my iron was low, because you need vitamin C to absorb iron. Like, get the blood work done, talk to your physician or whatever healthcare provider helps you with these things, and identify what you need to replace. If you're having a hard time eating, some people, the stress of the divorce does affect their ability to eat. This is a good time to find out what you need to be supplementing. So please have those conversations. Like, it's very, very important. All right, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee because next we're gonna talk about pleasure and self-pleasure. And I think this is probably the most shocking thing I talk to clients about. But we're gonna go there. Pleasure, including masturbation, is so important to talk about and think about during a breakup, even if you're just thinking about getting ready to break up with someone. Okay, you got to talk about this. When I bring it up with clients, particularly women, there's often kind of a long pause or maybe a giggle, maybe a nervous laugh, sometimes tears. Because so many women, especially those coming out of a long marriage, have been really disconnected from their own pleasure for years. Sex inside the marriage was performative, absent, or maybe seen as a duty, and so it felt bad. The body might have been taught to be useful, to be available, and a vessel for somebody else's needs and not your own. So reclaiming pleasure in your own body is not a distraction from healing, and it's not something to just pacify you until you find another person. It's part of the healing process. Self-pleasure offers your nervous system real co-regulation. It releases oxytocin, there's no better chemical for your body to release. It's the feel good, it's the bonding, it's all the things, right? And using pleasure in this way reminds your body that it's yours, that it's sovereign, that it can feel alive and feel good without needing another person to confirm all of those things. For men, the conversation is often very different. Pleasure has often been confused with release or with conquest or with proving something. So I want to slow down the conversation about that for just a second. Being in the body, not just discharging from it, is its own kind of practice. But for both men and women, the message is the same again. You have a body, it deserves to feel good, and reclaiming that part of your body and your relationship with your body is getting yourself back. Okay. So I think that men get, I don't know, shamed maybe for watching porn or looking at photos and masturbating. But I want to say that used in a healthy way, this can be an incredible therapeutic way for you to love yourself and get back to yourself. And this is something that we work on and something that we talk about specifically for women, since my primary clients are women. We do a lot of education on our bodies and pleasure and knowing our bodies better. And I think that people find it a relief. So there is a website I always recommend to my clients, omgyes.com. It is for women. It's to help women understand their bodies more, because most of us do not know anything beyond our clitoris and maybe our G spot. And there's so much more to understand about what brings us pleasure. So check that out if you are interested or have a need there. Next, things that my clients don't expect me to start talking to them about is dating and sex during the divorce. Many clients want to start dating quickly, and the question I ask is not whether they should, because that is not my decision to be made, and the answer isn't the same for everyone. The question that I ask is, what is dating doing for you? Is it numbing? Is it validating? Is it filling silence that you actually need to sit in? Is it bypassing grief? Is it about feeling desirable again because someone made you feel undesirable for a long time? Sometimes the answer is honest aliveness. You want to feel alive. More often in the early days, it's an escape route, unfortunately. I see this differently again between men and women, and I want to name that. Men, not always, but often, jump into dating before they've done any internal work. And I think that's just part of the society we live in and the way we've taught men to handle emotional situations. And what I see again and again is that without the work, they repeat the same patterns that contributed to the divorce in the first place. It's just a new face, the same dynamic, and they confuse momentum with healing. Women often carry shame about dating too soon while quietly needing to feel desirable, seen, heard, alive again. Both responses are completely understandable, and neither response is really the question. The question is this choice coming from a regulated, honest place? Or is it coming from a part of you that's trying to avoid sitting with yourself? Are you in a healthy space to engage with another person and bring them into your nervous system? If you are trying to avoid sitting with yourself, you can date all you want. You're not going to heal that way. You're going to likely postpone your healing process and experience something with the new person that will give you another opportunity to heal and to learn. And that cycle will just continue until you stop and take time to work on yourself. That may not happen every time, but that is the pattern that I see often. So I want to talk about something called monkey branching and your ex moving on. All right. This is very painful to talk about. It was very painful for me, even though I very much wanted and knew we needed the divorce. When your ex moves on, sometimes really quickly, sometimes with you where you might question if the person was already in the picture. Sometimes you know they were already in the picture. Sometimes within weeks of papers being signed. And every single client who's watched this happen has at some point made it mean something about themselves, maybe about their worth, about whether they were enough. And I want to be really, really clear here. When somebody moves on quickly, it usually says something about how they're handling this transition. It's not about you. And I know that that's hard to hear. It's hard to accept. It's not personal. It feels personal. But people who avoid emotional processing and dismissive avoidance in particular often are going to line up the next relationship before the current one is even fully ended. Sometimes that's called monkey branching. It's a pattern. That means like they cannot sit alone with themselves. So they're going to swing from one connection to the next without ever touching the ground in between. It's not a verdict on you. This is information about them. And if this is you, it's information about you. If you can let go of the story that you've been making up, that their next chapter means something about you or your worth, you get something really powerful back. You get your energy, you get clarity. You can stop measuring your healing against their timeline is not yours. All right? Whether it's a breakup or a divorce, your ex person, their healing and their avoidance of healing is not yours. It never was. Right? So let's talk about something a little more fun and make a total shift. When clients tell me that they don't have time for a new hobby, this is exactly what I tell them. I tell them this is the time to start one. And here's why. Divorce is neurologically a rumination event. The mind is going to loop. Same thoughts, the same conversations, the same scenarios, possibly flashbacks, over and over and over. That looping is actively or has the potential to actively erode neural pathways that you need. So learning something new, a language, an instrument, a sport, a craft, a creative skill, it builds new pathways. It quite literally rewires the brain, and it does something else just as important. It gives you evidence that you are someone with a future, not only someone with a past. I see this differently in men and women as well. Men often have shelved their hobbies during marriage, the things that made them feel alive before they took on the role of husband, provider, and father have been tucked away. Picking those back up is an important part of getting themselves back, and it feels good. Women have often given up the things that were just theirs, not the productive things, not the useful things, just the things they enjoyed, reclaiming that, taking up space for something that has no purpose other than just your own delight is part of remembering who you are. And I personally have taken up golf. Now, that was not something I did right out of the gate. I had taken up photography pretty seriously during the latter half of my divorce. And that mindful photography really got me through. I bought a special lens to do micro photography, and that was really cool because it allowed my brain to really, really focus in on, I'm sorry, macro, not micro, really focused in on details of flowers and insects, and then doing landscape photography just so I was pulling out and doing landscape and then doing the macro was really incredible. But then since the divorce has been finalized, I've taken up golf, which I always wanted to do. I never believed I could. I would not say I'm amazing at it, but it certainly has been something that has allowed me to have something else in my life to really focus my energy on and get me out of my head. So that has also been helpful in a post divorce relationship that has had a lot of trials and tribulations for me. So I guess in regards to golf, it's been a place for me to teach myself about my value and my resilience, because you have to be very resilient with golf. And that has helped me with moving through a relationship that has had a lot of ups and downs and has been difficult at times. Now, let's talk about the last piece, the last thing that people are not expecting so much of, and that is preparation. Divorce has a lot. Divorce and breakup has a lot of hard days, right? There could be mediations, there could be court dates, there could be move out dates if you lived together and you were just not married, custody exchanges, holidays, the first time you see your person with someone new, the first family event after the news has spread, not going to their family events. These days require the same kind of preparation that an athlete brings to a competition, right? You have to eat properly the day before, make sure that you get a lot of sleep, make sure you're moving, you're regulating your nervous system before you walk into any court proceedings or meetings, even with just your attorney. You don't show up to one of the most important conversations of your life depleted, having skipped breakfast, with 3 hours of sleep and a head full of catastrophic thoughts that you focused on all night. So I think this part surprises clients the most in the work that we do. They think that the hard days are something to brace for and brace through. They are something to prepare for. And that is a lot of the work that we do. What I want you to take away from all of this is that divorce is not primarily an event that you survive emotionally. It is a sustained physiological event that you move through in the body. People who emerge from divorce intact are not the ones who fought the hardest in court. They are the ones who grounded enough to make clear decisions, hold their own boundaries, and not lose themselves in this process. That groundedness has a foundation, and the foundation is a work that no one told you that you're going to need. It's in the body, the sleep, the food, the pleasure, the movement, the hobby, the honest question about what dating is really for, the willingness to let your ex's timeline not be a verdict on yours. These are not the things that people come in expecting to talk about, but these are the things that change everything, including the outcome. If this is a season you're in, if you are going through or preparing for a massive breakup, a divorce, a separation, take care of your body. It's carrying you. It deserves more than you are probably able to give it right now. But I am here to tell you, you can give it what it needs. If today's episode resonated with you and you want to support moving through your divorce or a transition with any kind of approach, body, mind, nervous system, identity, this is the work we do. You can do it in small groups with me. You can do it one-on-one with me. If you just want to have a discovery call and make a plan, I offer 90-minute sessions. They're power sessions, and we just set you up. If this is something that you can't afford to do throughout the whole divorce, I can support you with a one-time call and just lay the groundwork of what you need. I have made it my life's work to support people in the way that they need supported after or during or leading up to a divorce. And I want to help as many people get through this and get to the other side healthy and happy and ready to start a new life. Because for the haters who get in my inbox when I post something about supporting men. They're right. Like life on the other side of divorce can be really incredible. I want to help get you there, healthy and happy without disease. And it is possible, even if right now it doesn't feel that way. So I hope that this resonated with you and that you take away something today that helps you move through any hard time better than you might have before. Thank you. Talk to you soon.